To one and all, pleasure being here. My thanks to KSIDC for inviting me over. We'll be very brief. I think this is a panel discussion, so I guess we'll probably give brief perspectives and possibly we'll have more interactions. It's supposed to be predominantly on green and clean energy and how Kerala can move forward in this particular segment. Been focusing on this segment for the last 6-7 years. We have been fortunate enough to work in rather across the entire renewable energy spectrum. We have worked in solar, both PV and thermal, biomass, biofuels, waste to energy to some extent, small hydro, etc. And I also happen to come from Tamil Nadu, which, as you know, is in terms of renewable energy, the leading state in the country, predominantly because we have close to 42% of the total wind energy capacity. And now, of course, solar is the big word, not just in Tamil Nadu, but in Kerala and other places as well. Let me quickly share what I think Kerala could do in renewable energy. Maybe that's a good starting point. You see, if you look at your state today, renewable plays a very small role if you leave out large hydro, which is not really which is conventional. So if you're talking about non-conventional, today in Kerala it plays a very, very small role. The total installed capacity is probably about 200 megawatts out of some 3,000 megawatts total. So in a way you could say you are a late starter in renewables. That probably is good because you can learn a lot from what others have done, what mistakes others have done. There are three distinct features I see where Kerala can probably take a lead in the country. Number one, I think, is what I already see Anert has been doing, which is on the distributed part. You see, if you look at solar especially, in many European countries which are leaders in solar, Germany, for instance, I think has about 40 gigawatts of solar out of the total of 100 worldwide. A very significant percentage of solar actually comes from distributed and rooftops. Whereas in India so far, predominantly out of the 1,750 megawatts, 99% has been from utility grid connected. Solar being or having the ability to provide you power not from the grid, from your rooftops, which means it actually gives you energy security just in case grid is off. I think one thing Kerala can probably make a move in ahead of others in promoting rooftops more than anything else, which they already started doing. It's, I think, fantastic. But looking at distributed, the only other area I would request Kerala to look at is biomass. Biomass today, through what's called the gasification, you actually can have biomass generating either heat or power in a very efficient way, even on scales as low as 30 to 40 kilowatt, which means a large number of commercial and industrial enterprises can start using biomass as well for the distributed either heat or power production. This is another thing I would like you guys to think about when you think about distributed, not just solar but also biomass. There is one another area where I feel Kerala can take a lead. In fact, I keep telling people, Kerala is probably one of the most literate state in the country, having people who are so hardworking and enterprising. There's one area where Kerala can again take a lead, which is the R&D part of it. Today, the research and development for renewable energy in the country is practically non-existent. Whatever MNRE says and others say, we are at a fairly, I would say, primary level when it comes to research, development, training. If you look at MNRE estimates, by 2022, if the country is going to have 25,000 megawatts of solar, we need more than 100,000 skilled personnel, skilled engineers, solar technicians. Today, there is less than 1% of these numbers available in the country. Yes, there are a few institutes like IIT Bombay which have started a solar research cell, but I think it's too few and far between. My request to bureaucrats here is, I think Kerala has a great opportunity to look at research and development in renewable energy, and not just generation of power or heat through renewable energy alone. And the final request I have when it comes to renewables is don't look at power alone. Look at heat. I already mentioned it in passing. Most times when people talk about renewable energy, they talk about renewable power. Now that is, I would say, really missing the point. I'll very quickly give a case we are working on. We are working for Avin, which is Tamil Nadu's milk supplier. When we did a research of the facility about a month back, we figured out that they were spending about 45 to 50 crores on power every year. And surprise, surprise, they were spending 40 crores on furnace oil. Now, which means, when we spoke to the CMD of Avin, he pointed out, look, Narsi, when you're going and looking at renewable energy options, yes, on one hand, look at what we can do for renewable power, sustainable power, but look at furnace oil replacements as well. And there are replacements available. In fact, we have the biggest expert in the country coming from Thermax. He can probably share some inputs. What we have realized is, after the first level of work with Avin, that not only can we cut his electricity bills by about 10 to 15%, we can also shave his furnace oil bills by about 15 to 20% through a combination of biomass and solar thermal. So I would request those of you from the government here, look at thermal as well when you're looking at renewable energy, not just power. These are some thoughts I thought I would share. Thank you.